Hi all, in this video we will see test automation framework part 5. In our part 4 we completed writing the framework. So in this video we will see what is source code management, what is GitHub and how to use GitHub. So source code management. Managing source code does not typically address the issues of project and team management, although they can be tightly related. Source code management involves tracking the modifications to code. Tracking modifications assists development and collaboration by providing a running history of development and helping to resolve conflicts when merging contributions from multiple sources. So then what is GitHub? GitHub is a web-based hosting service for version control using Git. It offers all of the distributed version control and source code management. This is just theory. Now we'll see there is a project. In that project, let's assume more than one person is working. Let's assume 3 people are working there. Person A, person B, person C. So everybody working on the same project. So everybody will have their own project in their local machine, right? In Eclipse project. So A person is working on the same project, B also working on the same project, C also working on the same projects. A started working, he created some 3 files. B started working on that, he created 10 files. C also created some files. So each and every person need all these files to work with the same project. Then how everybody will get these projects? Means these files. So you will have your own files and everybody will have their own files. So how you will get? Daily you, after completion of the project, will you send it through mail or you put somewhere in the drive and take from there and put into your project? Is that possible in the real time? You will have a number of files creating, you will have so much of code writing, right? This is not possible. I cannot send you same day through mails and download it there and put into your local machine. This is not typically possible. So for that, what they do, they will create project in a centralized repository. Okay, centralized repository in the cloud. From there, you will get the code. You start writing the code, and you can add your code to that source code at the end of the day. Okay, and somebody will get the same from there, and they'll start working on the same files which you work. So how you manage all these things? For that we have so many provisions. One of them is GitHub. So GitHub is a source code management in the cloud. So from there you'll get the code, otherwise get the project. You start working on that, and once you're done, the terms you'll call as you push your code to the same project. And if somebody did the same thing, if you want their changes, you can pull the code. Means instead of sending through mails all these things, it is an effective way of maintaining the code. Means getting the code and sending the code. And the same way you will maintain your versioning. Means let's assume you're done with some 10 files, otherwise 2 tasks, and you push the code to the GitHub and you started working on some other task. In the middle something happened, your machine got crashed. Okay, then what happens to your entire code? You don't need to worry if you're using this kind of GitHub. So what will happen? Just you will lose your code which you are presently working, but the previous code you already maintaining in the cloud. So from there you will get that version of code and it will be ready with all the changes which you have except what you are doing, means what is corrupted. Okay, so you will lose only the code which you are working today, that's it. Means okay, it may be a problem, but compared to all the code you have till yesterday's code, you lose only today's code. But anyhow, you can start writing today's code again. It's not a big problem. That way you can save your code. Okay, this is all possible with the what you say source code management, otherwise you can say GitHub. GitHub is one of the famous web-based hosting service. You have n number of services, but GitHub is famous. So we are going to see what is GitHub and how to do that. So go to browser, you just type github.com. So you will find this kind of page, start the page. You can sign up or sign in. The initial page is sign up. So you can give your username, means your email ID. Username, email ID and password, and sign up for GitHub. Then you will get a mail to your mail ID. You need to confirm that. Okay, that is the process. Once you are done, you can click on this sign in. So you need to give your username or mail ID. My username is Sakinala and I have given the password. Click on sign in. So you see that the password you provide is weak. Is saying this some warning. That's fine. Here you will have your repositories. You see that repositories. I have n number of repositories. You see, the same way you can put your entire code here, your project here, that called as a separate repository. From here, other people will get the same project and they will pull and push the code. Right. So how you can do that? So you can click on this new, otherwise you press symbol. Okay, I'll click on new and I'll give the same name what we have given here. I'll right click, refactor, rename. I'll copy this and go to here. I'll give. The moment when you give, it will check with the same name you have on other repository or not. If you have, it will say duplicate. Otherwise, it will give you green right symbol. Okay, and here he is giving some instruction that great repository names are short and memorable. Okay, and you'll have public and private. Public, anyone can see this repository. You choose who can commit. Okay, public means anybody can see. If somebody is searching with POM project, Selenium page object model project, then if they find this URL, they can come and see our code. If it is private, so nobody can see, you need to give the option to see, then only they can see, otherwise they cannot see. Previously in the GitHub, public is free. When you want to go with private, you need to pay something. But recently they changed that you can create private repositories also. Previously when you say private, you will get an option that payment options, PayPal, something like that. But recently GitHub also giving to create private repositories. Okay, it's a great option. So whatever it may be, you can take any one of these and initialize this repository with readme. This will let you immediately clone the repository to your computer. Skip this step if you are importing an existing repository, but readme file is a kind of notes. You can put whatever you put, and somebody will will create one project. What is the purpose of that project, what to do, how to clone, how to work with that project. They can give entire information in the readme file. It's a kind of instruction. So better to put this one, initialize this repository with readme, then create repository. You see that in the Sakinala username, right? The Sakinala username, you have hybrid framework with POM, and you will have readme.md. When you click on this, nothing is there. Okay, you can edit, you can write something in this. this is a dummy repository to show the how to work with GitHub. I'm just giving some dummy information. Okay, so you'll have commit changes. You do not have save option. Commit changes, different terminology. So that we'll see. Commit directly to the master branch. That we'll see. Okay, commit changes. You see that this is a dummy repository to show the how to work with GitHub. When you go here, you see the same information here in the readme.md file. Yeah, that's fine. Now, how people will get this into their machine and how they start working with this GitHub project. Okay, so in real time, you will create one project or repository, something like this, and you can clone this into your machine. Clone or download. Download means just downloading some file kind of thing. Clone means you will create a reference between link between this GitHub and with your project in the local machine. Clone means. Download means just downloading some files, how you do normal files. Okay, so we'll go to Eclipse. So to work with GitHub, you have Git and some other tortoise Git, something like that tools, but in Eclipse you have a provision that you can directly interact with the GitHub. Previously it is not there. In the latest version they are giving the provision to directly work with, interact with the GitHub. So for that, what you need to do, here you know that perspective, where my mouse is, top right, open perspective here. When you click on this, you will find a Git option. You see, Git option. When you click on this open, you will have Git repositories. You will find this kind of information. Okay, add an existing local Git repository, clone a Git repository, create a new local Git repository. So we already have a project, otherwise repository in the GitHub. We'll use clone a Git repository. You click on this, it will ask for the URI. What is URI? That you will get it from here. When you click on this, you see clone with HTTPS, use Git or checkout with SVN using the web URL. This is the one, HTTPS github.com/Sakinala, then our repository name. Okay, repository name. You can double click on Ctrl C or Command V, otherwise you can directly click here, this icon, right? When you click on this one, it will directly copied. It's just copied. Go to your Eclipse, you just paste here. You see that it is asking for me keychain. So it's a Mac option. Normally it will not ask. I'll give my password. Do not bother about this one. Allow. Okay, when I copy this one, you see that same, you will get .git at the end. Okay, so host is github.com, repository path /Sakinala hybrid framework with pom.git. It will directly give all this information when you copy this one, means when you paste this one. Okay, then you need to give user and password credentials here. Okay, and store in secure store. If you keep doing the same thing and you do not want to give the password again and again, you can store. Otherwise you cannot store, then it will keep asking. You need to give when it is asking. So I'm not giving, but here I'll give user and password and click on next. You see that master branch. Okay, master branch means it's a main branch. You will have everything in the master branch. Okay, then click on next. You see that initial branch is master, the remote name they give as origin, and then this is the directory in your destination, your local machine. You see In the users, in the Krishna Sagnala, you will have a Git option. There it is creating. Then click on finish. You see that here, cloning from this repository 95% done. Then once it is 100% done, you see you will get this option, hybrid framework with POM. Okay. Now what you can do once it is done, go to your Java perspective. Okay. Go to your Java perspective. So here what you can do, we just clone the project. Okay. Now we made a cloning process. So the same thing, when you refresh here, you will not find anything. The same thing. Okay. You go here, you see you have a number of projects. Go to, you see 18 repositories. Go to repositories. This is the latest one, 6 minutes ago. When you click on this, you are not finding any files except readme.md. Okay. So now how I'll get this code into my repository in the GitHub? We have written so many files, right? So many files, so many packages, everything. I have an entire framework. If I put this one in the GitHub, some other people will get from there. They'll start working on this, start adding the test cases, right? So you just right click on your project. You will get one of the options called team. In the team, you will find share project. When you click on share project, it will ask the repository, which repository. When you click here, you see that hybrid framework with POM. It will give the instruction. Click on that. So this is the current location, is the target location. From the current location to with the Git, it is taking, and just click on finish. Okay, it is building the workspace here. It's done. Okay, once it is done, still you will not get anything here except readme.md. Now what we need to do, you need to right click on the same project again. Now you go to team. Now you will get so many options. Previously we have only two options, patch and share. Now you have so many options. So first you need to commit. Okay, first you need to commit. First we'll see, I have a notes, right? Now we'll talk about this GitHub, how it works. Okay. So it's a centralized repository. So what it will happen, you will create a branch, right? Master. Master is the main branch. You will get this into your local machine by cloning. Okay, and start. Okay, first cloning. So everybody will get, not only you who are in the project working in the same, then everybody will get this master branch into their machine. And then on top of that, they will create another branch. Okay, master is a branch. You will get a cloning of that branch. Okay, you will name your own name. Means that branch name you will get or you will give according to your project standards. Somebody will give when you're working with the Jira. In the Jira, if you have tasks, the Jira name, Jira number you will give. Otherwise, you will have some naming conventions. According to that, you will give. Assume I am using Jira and my Jira number is 1234. Okay, you have here login functionality, automate login functionality. So what you will do, you will create a branch with this Jira 1234. So you will create a copy of this master into this Jira 1234. So now you have everything in this 1234 what you have in the master, and then you start writing your code. Okay, assume login functionality. So once you have, you will commit these changes into your local machine. Commit means kind of save, and then you will have push. Push means it will go to GitHub. Okay, once it will go there, somebody will pull means get it from the GitHub. Okay, so once they get, they can review your code, whether you're written the proper logic or not, naming conventions, coding standards, everything you followed or not. Once it is done, the authorized person, one authorized person will be there. What he will do, what is the difference between master and Jira now? Jira 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's assume you have here 10 files. Okay, here you will have 11 files. The reason is you added login functionality file. Let's assume. So only one file is different. Now, if you directly push or commit your changes into master, if something goes wrong in the future, so your entire code you will lose everything. So instead of that, do not disturb the master branch. Never disturb the master branch. That is the reason. Take a copy of that master, name yourself, which proper naming convention, what you want to give. You start working on that. Once you are done, what you will do, if everything is fine, then you will merge your Jira 1, 2, 3, 4 to master. Then master will have latest code. Okay, instead of disturbing the master, you create a copy of master and give some name, start working on that. If everything is fine, everybody reviewed and everything is fine, then you merge this to master. Then the changes will go to the master, then everybody will have latest code. Okay, so this way you work in real time instead of disturbing the master branch. The same way everybody will keep doing the same thing. They create their own copy and they start working on that, and then they will merge their code into master branch. Okay, so I am working on the same file which somebody is working on the same file. Okay, there is a file called some ABC. So I am working on the ABC file and other persons also working on the ABC file. So after that they try to push, otherwise merge, you will get some issues. The reason is in the 26th line you have written something, in the same 26th line other person will have some other code, then you will get merge conflicts. Okay, you will get merge conflicts, so you need to resolve that. Okay, anyhow we'll see everything, push and pull everything in our upcoming video by taking this example. But here what we are discussing is what is source code management, what is GitHub, how to create GitHub account, and how you can interact with what you say from your project to your GitHub, and how in the real time people will work. Right, if I write my own code, if B writes his own code, C writes his own code, everybody will have their own copies in there. Then at the end of the day, everybody needs the same project, same files. So how you will communicate? Right, we cannot communicate through mails. You may have 100 files, you may change 10 files, 30 files, 50 files, and you will have so many changes. And another person also wants to do the same some changes in the same file. Then how they can do? Which changes are important, which changes are not important? Let's assume morning you came, you pulled the code, you started working on that, and the same way other person came, little bit, he pulled, he working on the same project. But unfortunately there is a chance of that you need to write some logic, and the same logic has written by another person. Okay, when you push the code, you will have duplicate code, right? No need. Then if you're writing your own code and if you're sending through mails, then how other person will come to know that the same code you have written? They cannot see it line by line, right? Each and every day you may have 1000 lines of code or 2000 lines of code, right? If you use this kind of source code management, it will have inbuilt functionality, all these things. When you push the same code to your branch, then obviously what it will say, you already have this kind of code in your master. You still need, so it will show some changes where you have done some changes. By looking into some that changes, you will confirm that whether you need that code. Otherwise, while merging, you can remove that code. Okay. B has written some 3 lines of code as part of my functionality. Same 3 lines of code I have written. While merging, it will say that it will show the differences. While showing the differences, it will show that there is a duplicate code. Otherwise, some extra lines are there. Those lines are needed or not needed. While merging, it will show everything. That time you can decide, I need this code or not. Okay, I need this code. Where to put? Before my code or after my code? Otherwise, it has to go to some other function, as it has to go to my function. If it is in my function, before my lines of code, otherwise after my lines of code, where to go? So you can do all these things by using GitHub. You have Bitbucket, you have some other, so many options are there, but one of the famous source code management and cloud is GitHub. Okay, and instead of directly working on the master branch, you can take a copy of that, you can give some name and then start working on that. In this way, you will not disturb your master branch. The actual code will reside in master. If something goes wrong in the future, suddenly your system got stuck or crashed, you lost everything, but everything is there in the master. You can again clone into your machine what we have done, right? The same thing you can done again. You can clone from there, then you will get everything. You will lose only today's task. Doing the same thing again is not a big task, right? That way you can save your code. Not only your code, the 10 people are working simultaneously, everybody will have their own functionality, so everybody's code will be there in the master branch. Means your entire project will be in the master branch. You will never lose anything. Okay, sometimes you are maintaining the version, you want to go to 1 week's back code, 10 days back code, you did some changes, but now you need some changes, that changes, and you will not remember what changes you did. Otherwise, you may remember that you did some changes in the login functionality, but what are the changes you need? So you have a provision that you can directly go to that branch or that version and you can get that code. It will maintain the history, right? Unfortunately, you felt that, okay, without knowing or with knowing, you did some changes. That time you feel those are not needed. But after some time, 1 week or 10 days, you felt that, okay, that is also needed. Otherwise, that kind of code is needed. Instead of writing again, you can revisit that branch in the history. You will get that code. You can copy that code and come to the latest version and you can paste here. You can use here. So this way, your task will be very easy when you're working with the very big projects. Okay, so that is how the source code management is very important. You have to use, and you will not lose anything. Okay, this is all about source code management and GitHub, and you have one of the options called Git. By using that Git, you can push and pull very easily outside your Eclipse. That can be worked with in Windows machine, but in the Mac machine you will have other options, source tree. Those are all some other GUIs. Whatever you are doing in the Eclipse, you can achieve the same thing with those also. But anyhow, you have inbuilt functionality in the GitHub, then you can directly use from here. So there is no extra burden. Otherwise, you need to install some third-party softwares and you can use out of your IDE. So every IDE means all popular IDEs giving this option that you can directly interact with your GitHub using your IDE. The same way Eclipse also having this provision, you can use this. Okay, so this is all about what is it, source code management, and what is GitHub, how to use GitHub. Okay, how to push the code, pull the code, everything we'll see in the next video. Okay, that's all in this video. Thank you.